So in last introductory lectures, we have seen the various techniques like pulse polarigraphy, normal pulse, differential pulse polarigraphy, as such. So here we will see the in detail how these techniques are important and what exactly you should write into the exam. Okay. So the pulse polarigraphy, this technique is developed by this scientist, that is Barker. Okay. So in DC polarography, the constant potential is applied to the electrode or the cell, and the resultant current is measured. Okay? So the input signal is the potential, and the output signal will be the current. But in pulse polarography, the potential is applied periodical during the short period of time, and the current is measured, okay, at a specific time interval. So depending upon the technique, that is if we are using the normal pulse or the differential pulse, so depending upon the technique, the output will differ. Okay. So the modern uh, polarographic techniques having the certain advantages. So one advantage is that the improved Faradic to charging current ratio. Okay. So we have seen this Faradic current, or that current developed due to the charge difference. Okay, charge difference. Initially we are having some like generation of potential, so that has resulted into the Faradic current. So it will be having the improved Faradic to charging current ratio. Also the in pulse polarography, only a single pulse is being applied to the system per mercury drop, and the drop of that mercury is around 20 to 40 millisecond. So after that application of the pulse, so it is assumed that the charge and current has been decayed to almost zero. Okay. So initially that drop is applied with certain potential, but the current is not measured at that particular potential. So when that drop is fall, so before the falling of that drop, we will be measuring the current. Okay. So that is the difference between the our polarographic technique and the pulse polarographic techniques. So the measurement of current is is made near the end of drop lifetime. Okay. Measurement of current is measured is in the near the end of that drop. So first technique is our normal pulse polarography. So in we have seen this normal pulse polarography, which is used the potential pulse of gradually increasing potential. So it uses the gradually increasing potential which is applied to the electrode from its initial potential. So there is no Faradic current which would flow initially. The potential pulse, which is approximately applied for the 40 to 60 millisecond, then the potential between the pulse will always return to its initial value. Okay. So the input signal for the normal pulse polarography will looks like this. Okay. So initially, it will increase. Initially it will be constant, then increase, then remains constant, then again it will be decrease, as such. Okay. So we are getting the this type of signal. Okay. Input signal, this is the input signal, that is potential as a function of time. Okay. Potential as a function of time. If the area of electrode is charging, the pulses are always applied at the fixed time interval in the life of drop. So the constant electrode area is maintained, and hence the current values are measured at the end of the each pulse. Okay. So in the this our if we specifically talk about this our normal pulse polarography, then the time interval for the that increasing the or constant potential will be 60 millisecond. Okay. So here this for 60 millisecond we are applying the constant potential, and before the fall of drop, here you can see that before the fall of drop we will measure the current for about 50 milliseconds. Okay. We'll measure the current for about 50 millisecond, and the duration of pulse, you can see here that the duration of pulse will be the 50 millisecond, and the potential pulse is of around, that is from after 50 milliseconds, when the drop will fall off, the potential will decreases, okay, and it will return to its the base potential. So this is the difference in the input signal for the normal pulse polarography. So for the operation in the normal pulse polarography, two types of instrument are generally used. So one instrument is this, in which the output signal is simply the current measured at a selected time interval, like we have seen here. So current is measured at a selected time interval. And the another type of instrument which uses this, the those in which the output signal is the difference between the current measured at the selected time interval, okay. But this technique is nothing but the differential pulse polarography. So we'll see this next, okay. So one is the our normal pulse polarography, where we are measuring the current for the selected time interval, and another one is the will measure the difference in the current at different time interval. After the pulse duration, the current is measured just prior to the pulse application, when the electrode is at its initial potential. Okay, so the output which is obtained for the normal pulse polarography for the two different solution is as such, okay. So for like normal pulse polarigram will showing the output for the two species, okay. One is for the copper 2, having the concentration of 1 into 10 raised to minus 4 molar, and another one is the 5 into 10 raised to minus 6 molar, okay. So the output will be quite interesting, and we are not getting that much fluctuation in the curve, okay. So that this fluctuation is less due to the decrease in the that Faraday to charging current ratio, okay. So for the task polarography also we are getting lots of peaks, okay. But here in the normal pulse polarography we are getting the least variations in the output signal, okay, least variation in the output signal. So this is the our normal pulse polarography. Next is the differential pulse polarography, okay. Differential pulse polarography. So as the name is suggesting, like we are using the differential potential, or the let potential is like here we can see that one linearly increasing potential is there, and above that linearly increasing potential we are applying certain square wave potential, okay. So this differential pulse polarography uses the input signal having the combination of both, that is one is the linear potential and another one is the increasing potential with the square wave type of input signal, okay. So both signals are like merged together to give the overall input signal of the differential pulse polarography. So that again we can see that, so prior to the applying of the that square wave, before the 16.7 millisecond, the like square wave potential is increased, okay. Square wave potential is increased, and this potential is kept constant for about 56.7 milliseconds. But since we have imposed the square wave potential with certain linear potential, linearly increasing potential, so instead of getting the flat curve here, instead of getting the flat curve, we are getting linear curve, increasing linear curve. And this increasing linear curve is kept for around 56.7 milliseconds, okay. And before the fall of drop for about 16.7 millisecond, again the current is measured, okay. So the current is measured at this point and at this point, okay. So the current is measured at 2 points, say point S1 and point S2, okay. So later on it will be clear to us. So here we can see that in differential pulse polarography, the normal DC voltage is ramp, that is linearly increasing potential, is applied to the system, and near the end of the drop life a small amplitude pulse of approximately 50 millivolt is applied, which is superimposed onto the this ramp, okay. A ramp is nothing but the square of potential, as measured signal is the difference in the current measured before and after the application of pulse. So in diagram we can see that the pulse is applied for around about 56.7 milliseconds. So before that 16.7 milliseconds, and after the pulse applied, that is before the fall of 16.7 milliseconds, we are measuring the current. So current is measured at two instances. Okay, so here you can see that current is measured at before and after the application of the pulse. So the change in current which is produced by the perturbation of this system, and peak shape curve is obtained with the peak which is maximum near the E1 half. Okay, so half wave potential for that particular system is obtained. So here we can see that, so here this is the square increasing square wave potential. Okay, increasing square wave potential, and this is the linear potential. Okay, and both of these signals were superimposed. So the excitation signal that is generally used for the differential pulse polarigraphy is as such. Okay, so the current is measured at point S1 and S2. Okay, here and S here, similarly here and here. So the point S1 and S2 are representing the points where the currents are measured. The first excitation signal is used into the analog type of instrument, which is obtained by superimposing the periodic pulse on a linear scan, and the second which is signal which is ordinarily used. Okay, this type of signal is generally used for the digital type of instrument. So in either case, the 50 millivolt pulse is applied during the last 50 milliseconds of the lifetime of the mercury drop. So like we have measuring the current at two different time interval and the two different values, that is S1 and S2. So the output will be the difference in the current. Okay, so the current is measured alternatively, one at S1 which is nothing but 16.7 millisecond prior to the DC pulse application, and one for the 16.7 millisecond at the end of pulse. Okay, so the difference in current, that is delta E, is recorded as the function of linearly increasing voltage. The differential curve which is resulting due to the peak is nothing but the characteristic for that particular species, and the area or the height at which the curve is reside is nothing but the concentration of that particular species. Okay, so for reversible reaction, the peak potential is approximately equal to its standard potential for half cell reaction. So one advantage of the this derivative type of parallelogram or the differential pulse parallelogram is that the individual maxima can be observed. Okay, so we have like seen if the peak maxima are not like exactly seen in the normal graph, so we will like take the difference of the, or we plot the differential graph, so there we can certainly going to see the peak maximas. Okay, so for the substances with half wave potential differing by this much value, okay, 0.04 to 0.05 volt, the differential pulse polarography gives the sensitive result. So this enhancement in the like this enhancement is very much useful. So the classical parallelogram for the solution containing the 180 ppm of antibiotic tetracycline gives the two barely. So here is the example which showing the application of this normal pulse or differential pulse polarography. Okay, so differential pulse polarography for the 0.36 ppm tetracyclic hydrochloride in zero point 0.1 molar acetic buffer of pH 10. Okay, and in comparison this with our DC polarigram, we get the such a fluctuation, but in case of our differential pulse polarography, we will get the quite resolved spectra having the like specific peaks for the particular, that our here in the case of tetracyclic hydrochloride compound. So the greater sensitivity of this differential pulse polarography, which is attributed to the two source. The first source is what? The enhancement in the Faradic current, while the second current is the decreasing in the non-Faradic or the charging current. Okay. So the first thing is the enhancement of the Faradic current, and second thing is the decreasing in the non-Faradic current. So these two things have resulted into the increasing into the sensitivity of our differential pulse polarographic technique. Okay,